Hello, my name is Patryk Binkowski and I am Customer Success Manager in KYP. And today we have a great opportunity to meet Joe Wood from Proservartner, who is our contractor and also our consultant. And he is a practitioner of KYP. He has been using KYP tool for a while, and I would like to ask him a few questions. What are his impressions on the tool? Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Morning. Yeah, doing well, thank you. How are you getting on?
I'm also fantastic, and I'm happy that we have that opportunity today to talk about KYP tool. So my first question is, what was your first initial impression of KYP when you first started using it? And has that changed over time when you started to use the tool?
Yeah, so initially, yeah, KYP got me as a very well-designed tool. It was very clear and intuitive to use. The dashboards were well set up and straightforward. So even as a first-time user of KYP coming into it, it seemed fairly straightforward to use. I guess then as I got more familiar with the tool, I started to appreciate some of the setup and configuration that was needed behind the scenes, and there's a level of different opportunities that you can identify across processes. Another standout feature for me was the speed of deployment. So we could get KYP up and running very fast, which is obviously a huge advantage, particularly on projects or POCs. And there wasn't that time required that there can be with other tools to build data transformations or write queries. As soon as we were collecting data, we were then able to analyze this in the dashboard.
It is great to hear that you, from the first touch with KYP tool, experienced that it is a tool pretty straightforward for using, because this is also an intention of ours, that our users have not any obstacles or any barriers at the very beginning to just start play with that, as it is usually happening with each tool that someone is using, that if this is handy, you are trying to experiment a little bit more deep. It's great to hear. I have a second question. If you could describe a specific example where KYP helped to uncover a process inefficiency or improvement opportunity.
So it's the POC that we worked on together. We were working with a team that were managing administrative tasks across several processes. And they had a sense that they were using a lot of time for internal communications in email and chat. They couldn't really quantify that. And then by using KYP, they were able to manage the time spent on different types of communication per process. And this helped turn the anecdotal stories that they'd heard into hard evidence and help pinpoint some of the inefficiencies. From then, we were able to explore opportunities around automation, improved workflow, and Gen AI to help reduce the manual effort used on that communication side. So yeah, that's one example from the work that we've done together recently.
And that's lovely that right now we cannot only base our improvements on something very technical, but also all the fantastic world of AI, of LLMs, also gives us a possibility to streamline and also to optimize the communication processes. And this is also our, let's say, focus, to supply to our customers also solutions based on the AI. And the next question is, how did you approach to analyze the processes or task mining data in KYP to find a meaningful insight?
For me, it starts with the validation configuration up front, so making sure that data that's being collected is accurate and understood by the business and matching what they would expect to see. It's probably the first couple of weeks of the data capture as part of the POC where we were working with the business to see what was coming through, validate that with them. Then in terms of the meaningful insight piece, I suppose it's focusing on the materiality, the value and the impact. And within KYP, you can see how much time is being spent on different areas, which helps understand where the opportunities are going to be. I touched upon the business context, but working with the stakeholders, collaborating with them, we did that throughout the POC. So through the validation piece, but then as soon as we started getting insights, then engaging with the SMEs, the people that really understand the process, showing them what we're seeing in KYP and understanding where they see the opportunities and what looks unusual and interesting to them as well.
Mm-hmm. That's also great to hear that KYP can really reveal something like hidden opportunities. Sometimes in the processes, we feel that something probably is or has the potential for improvements, but we have not really hard data. If we want to make a good decision, it should be a data-driven decision, not only feeling decision. So that's also great to hear that you were finding this KYP tool finds something like this opportunities. Great. And what kind of challenges did you face while learning the KYP applications? And I hope that you overcame with those challenges quickly.
Yeah, so I think the main challenge for me coming into it was understanding the backend setup, the application configuration, the process
Mm-hmm.
step is obviously critical to having a useful in front end to develop the insights and opportunities. I think it's lucky to have your support as a customer success manager at KYP. You helped talk me through the required steps, shared the relevant product documentation, and then after those initial sessions, I was comfortable with the steps and what required to handle the configuration going forward. So I think that was the area where I had to do a bit of learning and upskilling, but actually with your support and the clear documentation, it was pretty straightforward once I had.
That's fantastic to hear that I was also helpful in that path, because this is also KYP approach that we are supporting customers in the journey. And of course, from the very beginning, no one knows everything. So we are just, let's say, teaching customers and also our partners how to use backend and how to configure that in the way to get the most out of KYP and to get the business insights. Fantastic. Thank you very much for this. And how does, in your opinion, KYP fit into the broader business strategy or goals you've working towards?
At Proservartner, one of our aims that is helping clients operational excellence using the best digital tools available, whether that's process mining, task mining, automation, AI. And KYP definitely helps with this strategy, particularly when we're focusing on capturing data at an operational level where inefficiencies can often be not visible and go unnoticed. I think it really helps provide visibility of the day-to-day activities, the granular tasks that people are doing, and can identify a whole heap of opportunities that links into further solutions as well. So it's definitely a part of our toolkit as a team.
Yeah, definitely what you're talking is something how the KYP is built. So we are capturing data on a very low granularity, and then we just group it to see a broader picture and also to support the business objectives, business strategy, and also the future targets. And in your view, what makes the KYP a powerful tool compared to other process analyst platforms you've seen or used so far?
One thing that I mentioned up front that sort of stands out to me is that it's quick to set up. I mentioned how quick it was to deploy and get running, and then intuitive to use. You don't need a team of technical data scientists, data analysts to be able to use it. You need some knowledge of data and working with data, but actually it's quite easy to get up to speed quickly. Again, as we touched upon, the granularity of data, other tools don't necessarily look it down to the switching between applications, right? So all of that granularity is captured, which I think is incredibly powerful. And then also looking across the different aspects of the work that's being done, the people, the process, the technology, different visualizations set up that focus on those different areas, help look at the work that's being done as a whole, which I think help tie it all together very nicely.
And that's what you described already and explained clearly is also our aim, that the customer receives a tool which has really low entry barrier. So that's great that you've also experienced that it is working in this way. And what kind of advice would you give to someone who is just getting started with KYP or in general with process mining?
So I think one of the areas that always comes up and that you need to have in place is around the business value and the business case, right? It's great having a lovely tool that's working well and that's great, but if there's not the value or the business case behind it, it's not going to be adopted and not going to be taken forward. So making sure that what you are looking to do, there is the business case there and the stakeholders are involved and aware of that as well. Another point from a sort of more deployment point of view is making that you understand both the tools and the technologies, that what they're capable of, as well as the processes. And if you're not as up on the processes, finding the right people to work with that are across the business or the client that you're working with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to have a tool which is even good looking, it's not enough. The tool has to give an insight, and really it has to be also justified from the business perspective that it really gives insights which is valuable for a whole organization, for the whole business. And during your journey, have you noticed any unexpected findings or insights from KYP data that changed your perspective on the process or organization?
Yeah, so one of the insights that came out on the project we were involved in was KYP identified a significant amount of out of hours time, which wasn't a concern that had been raised up front, but the data clearly revealed that there was a lot of evening and weekend working. We could see that within the front end dashboard. This led to further discussions with the client to understand their workload expectations. Would they expect to see this? And it turned out, due to the operational nature of their work, they would expect a level of out of hours working when there are urgent tasks that need to be completed and seen to, but also how important it was to investigate this was within acceptable limits and being well managed, and it wasn't due to the team having excessive workloads. They were purely focusing on the operational issues that needed to be done out of hours. So yeah, that was one insight that I was surprised to see coming out of KYP and think can be valuable across lots of different organizations.
Yes, sometimes we feel that something is going well or is going bad, and data only confirms that, but sometimes there is also just a surprise that we are totally even shocked that something is happening in a certain way that we would have never expected. And capturing data with KYP tool is also a way to, let's say, to see that, to reveal that real truth.
Definitely help bring the data behind what's going on and make it visible. Definitely.
Absolutely, yeah. And if we are looking right now a little bit more into future, how do you see the role of data-driven tools like KYP evolving in the next few years within the business operations?
So I think it's already starting to happen, but one of the things we're seeing is the tools going from diagnostic discovery analysis tools to more operational enablers. So rather than just highlighting issues and opportunities, they're suggesting the improvement, they're automating the solution to being, and I suppose related to that, more embedded in everyday operations as opposed to operational tools. I think that one of them, and another one, as the implementation becomes easier and easier, I guess it opens the door for smaller teams, smaller departments, more people getting benefits from these insights. So they a couple of bits.
Mm-hmm. This is very interesting because when I was thinking about this idea, the first answer that I would have expected would be AI. But this is right now, I would even say, so obvious that AI is within applications like that and is really helping. However, what you just pointed out is absolutely a great perspective also, how these tools will be developing.
And a lot of those operational tools will be using AI to help deliver those day-to-day improvements, right? So it's definitely part of it.
Absolutely, yeah. In KYP, we have, if we are talking about AI, we have Concierge, and Concierge is also analyzing the user's data. It may be either on the main place where a data analyst is analyzing data, or it can be also on individual dashboards. So every individual may see something like a recommendations that AI is creating based on that person's data. So this is not a general view, but this is really exactly something what is happening out of the data given by the person. And if you could suggest one improvement or new feature for KYP, what would it be?
A couple of things that I think would be considerations. But one from my side, probably coming from quite an analytical background, having the option for custom analysis or visualization within the tool. It's great having the built-in upfront visualizations that are already there and quick to use, but possibilities for advanced visualizations, tailoring calculations if there's specific things that you want to dive into and look at, rather than having to export data offline and do some visual analysis and calculations there. That's one of them. Another one is around the configuration side that we touched upon up front, any sort of AI support around that, helping get things more and give you an initial view from a configuration point of view, minimizing the time required for that, and then automating some aspects of that configuration, I think would be another good addition on my side.
It is great to hear that you see opportunities there, because as I am a customer success manager, and one of my responsibilities is also helping to set up everything, let's say, behind the scene, to see on the front end exactly the data in the way that we would like to. I would absolutely also sign under this feature, and for sure we will analyze that ideas, and thank you very much for them. And these were all my questions for you. I would like to thank you very much for your time, for your valuable insight into a discussion regarding the development of KYP applications and the future of such tools in our business.